Good afternoon. The meeting of the Shreveport City Council is now called to order. Councilman Green will give the invocation and Councilman Nicholson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Lord, for this day, and thank you for another opportunity to be servants, to serve the people of this city and of this world. Lord, we ask that you would give us wisdom, give us understanding as we handle this business, and whatever we do, we ask that you would get the glory out of it in the end. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilwoman Fuller. Councilman Nicholson.
Present.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilman Baldwin.
Here.
I'm going to ask you to please silence your cell phones. Please silence your cell phones. Tomorrow, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the combined administrative conference and city council meeting Friday, November 9th, 2021, and the special meetings Thursday, December 2nd and December 6th, 2021. Does any council member have any awards, recognitions, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
Madam Chair, I'd like to invite Stacy Brown from the Tourism Bureau to join us.
Ms. Brown.
It's always a little taller than me. How are y'all doing this afternoon?
Hey, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come before you and present an update on tourism and our 2022 budget. Vice Chairman Taylor, appreciate it, and Mayor Perkins and Chief Whitehorn, appreciate all that you do to make Shreveport great. We're working. Well, as most of you know, the Shreveport-Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau is charged with being the destination marketing and management organization for all of Caddo and Bossier parishes. So we cover both Shreveport and Bossier, Caddo and Bossier as a whole. We have more than 800 partners that we work with on a regular basis. That's hotels, restaurants, attractions, retail stores, etc., in helping to market our area to others. We also have several divisions of the Convention and Tourist Bureau, and the most well-known of those is the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission. The Boomer Bus Byway is another division, and it runs through Caddo, Bossier, Webster, and Claiborne parishes as well, up on the northern edge. Our vision and mission. So what we've done over the years is recognize the fact that although our main mission is to go out and bring visitors from outside the area to Shreveport-Bossier, that really the offshoot of what we do is a better quality of life for our citizens. So making sure that we're in tune with our citizens and that we're providing the assets that they're looking for also helps provide those assets for visitors as well. So our mission is enriching life through tourism. So not only the lives of the visitors that we're bringing into the community, but also the local people as well. As you know, 2020 and 2021 were quite challenging years. The start of 2021 was very slow to begin with and very challenging. We were down significantly the first few months. But after that, when COVID leveled out and people felt comfortable coming back, we have been successful in quickly overcoming that. So these numbers are year-to-date through mid-November. You can see on the convention events side, we've had 96 groups with more than 52,000 hotel room nights that were booked during this year, or held during this year, I should say. On the communications side, We do a press play marketing campaign. So that's a campaign that we use a variety of media for, but the main tool that we have to count the success of it is through Expedia and ads through Expedia. So what we're able to count is those people who see the Expedia ad and go on and book through Expedia from our ad. So direct return on that was $3.1 million in hotel room revenue with over 394,700 website sessions. So with that, if you're like me and you're a loyal Hilton Honors member, if you saw the Expedia ad, you didn't book it there, you went on and booked with another venue. So those would not be counted in that number. On the sports side, we had 104 groups that booked 53,000 room nights with 256,000 people. So as you can see, these numbers are significantly better than last year. So we have a current market overview here, giving you some of the things that have occurred. We were just recently named the Convention South Readers' Choice Destination Award for the 7th time. We just hosted the USA Boxing Nationals just this last month, and thank you very much for all that you do to make the Convention Center a great place. That event could not have happened anywhere else. So the Convention Center was a great host and worked very well with us, not only on that event, but a number of events throughout the year, especially the Shreveport Convention Center in Hilton as well. So we really appreciate that. Your Parks and Recreation, or Shreveport Public Assembly and Recreation, also does a tremendous job in working with us on a number of venues, especially on the sporting events side, but also with us when we do Rockets Over the Red most recently and other events. So we appreciate all the work that they do. Several things are upcoming for next year. Even though we didn't have Mardi Gras this year, we took advantage of that opportunity to do a virtual event. And we invited meeting planners and others to that event virtually, sent them a little king cake recipe where they could make their own king cake and meet with us virtually. Because of that event, we were able to book a couple of conventions. So one of those is a convention called the Society of American Travel Writers. They will be bringing their South Central States chapter meeting here during Mardi Gras of 2022. This will be about 75 travel writers, all from central states, that write about travel around the world. So it's a great opportunity to host them in our community, to get a lot of articles written about us and make that dollar value go further. The other one was Helms Briscoe. Helms Briscoe is a third-party meeting planner, so they work with a huge number of meeting planners and help them make those arrangements. So Helms Briscoe decided, because of that meeting, they wanted to come in during Mardi Gras as well and bring in 5 of their top meeting planners as well as 5 of their top clients to look at our market for future meetings and events. Last year, we started on a 3-year strategic plan, and we are continuing on with those 4 high-level objectives, including strategic sales and marketing, collaborative experience development, innovative organization, and proactive community engagement. There were 2 main initiatives that came out of this study as well as our Destination Next study a couple of years ago. And that is one, the need for a destination master plan, looking at all of Caddo and Bossier parishes. How do we work together to make this not only a great place for people to live, but an even better place for people to visit as well? Then also working on a destination brand. So that's one that we as a community can snag onto and use to build awareness of our community as a great place to live, work, and play. So we've already been working on getting everyone on board this year, the chambers, the several committees of 100, the parishes, the cities, and now we are moving forward with that RFP. On the right side of the slide, you'll see the prior year outlook. So this time last year, we didn't feel nearly as comfortable about coming into 2021. Though we were severely impacted, we were well ahead of tourism overall in the U.S. However, we didn't believe hotel demand would reach normalcy until possibly the second half of 2021. We have not only hit the 2019 numbers, we have surpassed them. So a number of reasons for that, but part of it is we were very quickly able to make very strategic decisions and place our advertising, sales, and marketing efforts in the right place at the right time. In 2021, after a slow start that first quarter, we have exploded. So part of that's from rescheduling events. So for instance, the boxing was supposed to happen in December of 2020. It moved into March of 2021. So we hosted this year actually 2 boxing national championships, the 2020 and the 2021. So that kind of thing probably won't be happening next year. But it also accounts for some of those added numbers this year. Some conventions, a lot of pent-up demand, others getting out and about. So we're excited about that. So as we're looking at budget, we're budgeting up above 2019, but down below where we actually expect to be for the end of 2020. On the communications side, as I mentioned earlier, the Expedia campaign. So for every $1 we put into that campaign, we returned $32.30 in direct hotel revenue. So that's only the hotel revenue. That's not including revenue that they spent when they went out to eat, when they went shopping, on their entertainment, or any of that. So we had a great return on investment for that. In the convention and tourism area, this is the area that's been slower to return, but we're seeing it pick up very quickly, especially booking into 22, 23, and beyond. So some of our larger conventions are working more on 23, but we are booking them now. So we're excited about that. On the sports side, the return on investment there is very strong. In 2019, we were responsible for $393,000 grant budget with supporting over 50 sporting events with a $19.1 million economic impact. In 2021, we had to cut that, obviously, because budgets were cut, back on that grant budget, but we were still able to generate $15.7 million in economic impact. And as I said, this is through November, so that does not include the event we just completed. I have with me Kelly Wells, our Executive Director of the Sports Commission. He and his team do a phenomenal job on bringing sporting events, and one of the things we found with COVID is people might be reluctant to travel for business, but they wanted to travel for their kids, and they were willing to go to sporting events and get out and about in the community more. So that was one of our great assets in turning our community around. As you look at the budget overview, and I did mean to say thank you as well for your support of the Sports Commission and your appointees, Joe Marrow and Larry Anderson. They have definitely been a big asset on that. In your handouts, you'll see the budget overview. Rather than trying to compare anything to 2021, because that's or 2020, it's such an anomaly, we compare to 2019, and you'll see that our revenue numbers are coming in very strong. We are very fiscally sound. We had another year of a zero exception audit. And one of the things we learned in 2020 was that though we had a reserve fund, it probably was not as strong as it needed to be. So this year we've been able to invest some of those dollars into that reserve fund, and we'll continue to do that to shore that up as well. In the sports department that you see here, that is for the staffing and the actual sales work, trade shows, that kind of thing that the sports department does to attract the sporting events. Here you'll see the different divisions of the Bureau, and one of those is the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission Reserve Account. So they realize that to be able to attract some large events, we have to have some capital. So we reserve some funds there, but then we also have our events budget, and out of that events budget, that's where we secure and promote the events and produce them with that event, that side. So once it's secured, then it moves over into the sports events budget. Just want to thank you. I know you've got a big agenda today, but I would be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Stacy, one question that I have, especially when tourism, and I believe I asked about this last year, but I know that we were in the middle of COVID, is that those particular attractions for our disability community, do you all work with Special Olympics and in that capacity as far as promoting those events here?
Yes, we do. We have hosted the some Special Olympics events in the past, and that is a market that we work with.
Okay.
And then we do, through our fund guide, additionally support any events, even if they don't come to us for assistance, we do help promote them as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. In fact, speaking of events, so obviously this weekend is a very big weekend.
Yes.
There are 3 nationally televised events in Louisiana. 2 of them are here in Shreveport and Bossier. So Radiance Technology Independence Bowl and the Louisiana Tech LSU basketball game at the CenturyLink Arena, Brookshire Grocery Arena. And so we are excited to have 2 of those 3 televised events in Louisiana right here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Okay.
Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Mr. Casey, does the administration have any distinguished guests?
None at this time.
Y'all have any communications?
None.
Okay.
We will have some tomorrow.
Okay. Does any member have any questions or concerns relative to property standards for Mr. Green? Will there be a revenue collection plan and implementation report tomorrow? No public hearings. Mr. Whitehorn, will there be any legislation be added to the agenda on tomorrow?
None that I'm aware of, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr. Green, I don't think there's anything for you. So. We have the following public comments. Mr. William Daniel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate y'all taking time to hear these public comments. This is going to be about the proposed raise. As a member of the administration, I know that we have been working very hard to try to do something regarding the compensation of our employees. They raised it up to $13 an hour. They gave a 2.75% raise. We've included those in our budgets, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. But I feel very strongly that I have to stand with my department regarding this 13% raise that is being proposed for public safety. Not that I am against a 13% proposed raise for public safety, but I think my guys are just as important as public safety. We can't do without the fire and police, but you can't do without water and sewer either, and I don't think you can do without public works. So it's hard to pick and choose winners in government like this, and we're going to try to do something as a department that hopefully that other departments can do to maybe restructure some things, but I just want everybody to understand that the water and sewer department, it has a lot of very hard-working, dedicated employees, and I know police and fire put their lives on the line, but if you remember back to the winter storm when it was negative temperature and my guys were in holes fixing pipes with water spraying all over them in the dark of night, and with citizens driving around on streets they shouldn't have been on, putting their lives at risk as well. So I just hope that when y'all think about raises that y'all will consider everybody in the future, because everybody is worthy. Thank you.
Mr. Daniel, I have, for the record, asked the administration to look at a a sizable increase for city workers as well. And to give me a breakdown of that, because I also I agree with fire and police and their increases, but also to our city workers. I don't want to pit employees against each other or anybody to be made to feel that way. And so I've asked them to give me a breakdown of these raises for city employees. Now, I've broken them down by salaries as well. I've also asked for the $13 to be increased to $15 for that, to make everybody comparable, because everything is so competitive. But I want us to look overall at this, because it's very, very important that we send the right message to all of our employees, because they all work together to help make Shreveport great. So you have my commitment to that. I want to know what 13% looks like for all city employees. I want to know where it is, if we're comparable in the middle. Where do we reach the compromise on that? Because as you said, fire can't work without water, and I don't think that police will be able to work without streets. So we have to look at it full throttle coming from the city. You all are one of our largest investments, and we have to invest in our employees, especially with other companies that will be coming here through the forefront. So you have my commitment on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel, I'll just say that, like all members of the council, I deeply appreciate the work that the employees in your department do. If the water doesn't come out of the tap when you turn on your faucet at home, you can't go on living even for a day, and we all learned that last February. Is the administration opposed to the 13% public safety increase?
Well, I think the administration can speak for themselves, Councilman. And I know everybody's concerned about all the employees. I just wanted to make sure that my employees know that I'm concerned about them as well.
Well, so you're not expressing opposition to the 13%, or do you have a position?
My position is that everybody deserves a raise. So that's my position.
Well, I'll always welcome you, Mr. Daniel, and of course, Mr. Waterman, you and I have a very good line of communication. I'm always happy to hear your concerns expressed in a meeting or privately. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel. Also, I just wanted you to know that the legislation that Councilwoman Taylor is talking about, I'm also a co-sponsor of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't mean to suggest that the council is not concerned about all the employees. I just want to make sure that y'all understand that when you pick one portion of the city employees, then you do create you create a dilemma that my employees don't think that they're as worthy as the other employees, and they are absolutely as worthy as any other employee in the city.
And I don't think the council receives it that way. I don't think we receive it.
But my
that way.
employees perceive it that way.
No, I'm saying I don't think that you're coming in here giving any type of false narrative is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think that the council understands too. We all went through Snowmageddon, plus we also deal with other city issues on a daily basis. So it's been one that's always been my position about raises for everyone, consistently across the board. When you do that, because you speak to all employees when you talk about how valuable they are and what they contribute to the city. We are all under one umbrella, and all of the parts work together. And if there's a limp in one section of it, then the other part of the body is going to hurt or try to make readjustments for that. So, yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Daniel, I would expect no less than you to be up here asking for this. I think that a department head fighting for their employees is a good thing, and I'm glad to see you here doing it. I will make a couple of comments about it. You know, the 13% didn't just jump out of thin air. It's been going on for several months. We've been discussing it in public safety committee meetings. We've been discussing it back and forth between the administration. This is not something that we just dreamed up. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, on both departments, it was an unfunded needs and has been for quite some time. So I am of the firm belief that department heads and the administration need to bring this council. We can work and ask questions, but they need to bring it to us to act on it, and we'll allocate the money to you. So you tell us what you need, what your employees need. The administration comes to us, tells us what they need. We look at it and we move on it, just like we moved on the public safety, or plan to move on the public safety. So I'm the only one sitting up here that worked for the city of Shreveport for 7 years. So I know what your pay's like. I know what you do. I mean, and I'm 100% behind every employee in the city getting a raise. But I'm not the administrator. That's y'all's job to bring to us and let us vote on it and analyze it, and we'll do that. So as soon as we get a plan together for water and sewage or public works or whatever, I'll be happy to entertain that and look at it and support it. So,
Appreciate that, Councilman. Thank you.
thank you.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
One other thing, Mr. Daniels. And I understand that we want all this pie and we want everything. But according to our charter, unless we have reoccurring funds that we can sustain the raises that we are talking about, we're going to break the law in our charter. I don't know how we're gonna do that, but I do know it's in the charter that whatever we do, we gotta have reoccurring funds. I don't know where we're gonna get it from fire and police. I don't know where we're gonna get all of, if we go up to 13% for everybody. I don't know where the reoccurring funds are gonna come from, as I was with the other raises that we gave before. I just need somebody to show me, the administration or whoever, however this came about, to show where reoccurring funds will come. Because I remember when we started, we were broke. We have some money now, but we don't have reoccurring funds to support a 13% across-the-board raise for everybody. That's the truth. We can do it for maybe 1 year or 2 years, maybe 3 years. After that, we don't have the money. And I just wanted to put that out so that everybody will know that what we are attempting to do sound good, but everything that sound good is not good. This is a good sound, but right now I could ask the administration if we have reoccurring funds that we could give a 13% raise to whoever, how long would it sustain? They cannot give us a solid answer, and that's the truth. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chief Whitehorn.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the administration, I just want everyone to know that we are in full support of the 13%. In fact, we're the ones that brought it to this council to bring those police and firefighters up to a regional starting salary. We have also talked with all of you regarding the needs for all of our employees and the need that they too deserve pay increases. And so we're in support of police and fire with the 13%, and we're in support of all the rest of the city employees receiving an adequate and substantial pay increase. It's like Councilman Green said, we should first identify the revenue, and that's what we've tried to do moving forward with the 13 and the 2.75. And I'm not sure if we're there yet, but that's what we've talked about.
Chief, Madam Chair. Chief, every time that I have come to you as the public safety chair about public safety raises, the next words out of your mouth are, what about the rest of the employees?
Yes, sir.
So that is a true statement. So I don't want anybody in this audience that's sitting here today to think that the administration or this council has left you out. We've just got to figure it out. And I think that's what y'all are doing.
Yes,
so
sir.
thank you.
So what's the answer? I'm asking, what's the answer when that question is brought up? What about the other employees? What about the rest of the city employees? Because my phone is burnt up the past few days, and especially today, asking that question, what about us?
And
So
we've
when
talked
that
about
question
it
has been
before,
brought up, then where's the answer to what about them? So what's the answer to that?
So, Madam Chair, I'll offer these additional thoughts. Like everybody around the horseshoe, like the administration, we want to pay the city's employees as well as we can. But it is a stone cold fact that if we don't increase public safety compensation to the regional average, we will continue to lose police officers, we will continue to lose firefighters, and that hurts every single person that lives in this city, including city employees. So I absolutely want us to do everything we can to increase compensation for the city's employees, but the conversation should not be we can only do for police and fire what we can do for everybody, because there are different markets in play in that decision, right? We got to pay people fairly based on the market for the service they provide. We got to pay our police and fire more, or we're going to keep losing them, and we're going to continue to have the problems that have plagued this city the entirety of this term. So I hope that we can work on doing more for city employees, non-public safety, but we got to come together and support the administration's proposed 13% increase for public safety.
But I still didn't get the answer. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate right now. What about the other employees? I hear what you're saying, but that's not. I'm not getting an answer as for the other employees, because I think I can look out there and I can place some of the faces. Some of these people called me today, and it shouldn't be what about or at the same time but I would probably do the same if it came up to the employees I'm gonna give the nurses a raise at the hospital, but I can't give housekeeping, I can't give the dietary workers a raise either. What about us? So where's the answer is what I'm saying. What is the answer to that question, please, Chief Whitehorn?
Councilman Bowman, I jotted down a couple things that I feel is somewhat toward the answer. We did the minimum wage increase to $13. We have a compression model that we've looked at that is should be in place for January 1. That's another $3.2 million, where it's going to take grades 8 through 11 and increase those hourly wages to take up that compression from the $13. We've got the 2.75 increase that's proposed that you will be voting on tomorrow. We've also, there was a 3-phased approach where we increased the minimum wage, add the 2.75, and then the next year add the 2% merit increase back based on performance expectations. And so that is something that the administration is looking toward. Now, is that enough? Probably not. Is 13% for police and fire enough? Probably not. Every time we give a raise, it's never enough, as you know, because somebody else is going to raise their raise. And so we're still playing catch up. And so if there's a way that we can give the non-civil service employees a larger raise, I'm open to that. But we got to figure out this revenue piece. That's the big piece, even for the $13, you know. And we talked about that last year, that in most budgeting, that is in place prior to, you know, even putting a raise out there. You already got your revenue figured out. And so we're kind of behind the ball on some of this stuff. But we're doing the best we can with the means that we have right now.
May I add in what Councilman Nicholson said? Because I don't think anybody here argues of what we need to do as it relates to public safety and their salaries. We know what we need to do in their area, but you cannot tell me that public health is not as important. Public health and what these individuals do when they go out in this city is core. We're losing individuals in public works and water and sewage just like everybody else is what we're doing, and they're critical. When we didn't have water, who did you call? If we have a sinkhole open up in our streets, who you gonna get ready to call? We have a major, you're gonna call these departments. And so we cannot overlook that fact. I have always said, as Councilman Butcher talked about in the public safety meetings, even before Chief Wolverton left here, I've always asked this question: what about the rest of the city employees? It's a question that I have always asked since I have been on this council, because you have to send the correct message as well. They are viably as important as every other department within this city.
Yeah.
We cannot argue that. They are here today. He's just one of many directors that are here today up here speaking. But I think if we told every director to come down here, they would tell you what they mean to the city of Shreveport, and it is critical. So we're not saying, oh, we don't want fire and police to get 13%. I'm saying I want everybody to get the 13%, is what I'm saying. And that if we can't, then I want to know what is comparable to that. I want to look at it by where we are as far as wages, where do we meet in the middle, and how do we do this? We have given them bonuses. Bonuses is not going to equate to their retirement. They need something that's going to be sustainable, just like everyone else. And that's the only thing that I'm saying. That is what I have always said. Let me get that on the record. But I've always asked about employee raises. That's critical, because this is one of our largest investments in the city of Shreveport. And so we don't want to lose employees in any area, because if we don't have anybody in the water department to break water lines, then what? If we don't have anything, if we don't have anybody to go over here and pick up all of our debris, we already behind because we don't have enough employees. I'm just saying.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Councilman Bowman, to answer your question, for an instance, today, if Terrence Green, who has tractors to cut grass, if one of Terrence's employees used that tractor to go make him some side money, he'll go to jail. If some of your employees would take that equipment and go to make some side money, they would go to jail. If a police officer, once he finished this job today, he can go and work anywhere in the city and make more money at that job than he can with the city. Plus, he can use the city's car, he can use the uniform, he can use the bullets, he can use everything. He don't go to jail. So if we're talking about balancing the scale, and since we are trying to make ends meet, then I think that if in fact, Councilman Bolden, these guys had an opportunity, and ladies would have an opportunity to make them some extra money with the city's equipment, then it would bring us to a balance some kind of way. You know? It's like for an instance, if Tanya, if they take their computer home from the city and do work and get caught, they're gonna get fired. But anybody up in here know that anybody in this city will hire a police officer or hire a firefighter, and they work every day. I'm not against fire and I'm not against police, but I just think as a whole, we need to make sure that we're balancing. This is going on my 12th year being here. I fought for everybody to make sure they were whole as far as making money. But I just think that if in fact you start putting one more important than the other, then we're gonna have a problem. And so I just think that maybe we need to look at how do we balance the scale. So does that make sense, Councilman Bowden? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Get out of your hair.
Yes, sir.
It's very well publicized how many police officers the city's down and how many firefighters the city's down. It's not as publicized how many water and sewer employees we're down, and we're down a lot. We've got guys that, where they go out with less than full crews, or we're shuffling crews around to make things work on a daily basis. I mean, I've got some really good managers that are trying to make all this work, but we're losing employees too. And it's that exodus from the water and sewer department is only going to increase over time. There are other industries coming, and we're happy to have them, but they're going to hire employees, or they're going to make it impossible for us to compete for new employees. So, although we may not be as well publicized as police and fire, we're equally as affected in trying to hire people and losing people as they are as well.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
I appreciate Mr. Daniel for coming down, speaking for his department. That speaks volume. I know that other departments have said that in the past, and water has said the same thing. As far as having someone to come down and have their back in leadership, and they got it today, and I just appreciate Mr. Daniel coming down and speaking up for his department. Thank you. I still ain't got my answer, but not one that I like. But take
You didn't go for mine?
I understood it, but I didn't get a full understanding. And that's just me again. I'm not against nobody. I'm not against police and fire. I'm 100% for it. I'm just trying to find out a way that we can do for all. That's it.
Yes.
Ms. John Glover.
Good afternoon. John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 121, Shreveport, 71118. As is customary for me, I always go through the agenda for the administrative conference and then the work session for tomorrow. And as I went through the agenda, there were 3 ordinances that caught my attention. Those ordinances dealt with rental, rental dwelling? One of those ordinances, 194, had fees that were going to be assessed with those landlords, I guess one would say, because each one defined how much was going to be charged for each item. And then I asked myself, we can go and we can impose fees, but we can't impose anyone to make sure that these dwellings are worthy of the fees that we want to charge the landlords. If it is that a dwelling is dilapidated, yet the fees are still there to be addressed, and though I have heard recently that one will be remanded to the MPC, it is still out there for the public to see, and we really need to address it. It just makes no sense to me. Then I saw all of these amendments to the budget. Budget here, budget there, budget here, budget everywhere. We're trying to amend the budget of 2021. Today is December the 13th. What's really going on here? That all of these different departments, budgets, reappropriating of monies, what is this all about on December the 13th, which you all will eventually address through a vote of support or not? We cannot play ninth hour catch up. If we see a problem before December 31st, or even before December, we should address that at that time. You know, the agenda was like 18 pages. That's a lot of information for you all to have to address. A lot of information. And when you're looking at it, I looked at Ordinance 189. It talked about addressing the convention roof. Well, haven't we heard this before? I know for the last couple of years I've been hearing about the roof needing to be repaired. We haven't done it yet. And if not, why haven't we done it? See, those are the things that I look when I read the agenda. I want to understand fully what it is that you, the council, in concert with the administration, are asking us to accept. Because oftentimes the language is even not what it needs to be, layman's term. I do appreciate your time, and you all have a good evening.
Philip Ross.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Philip Rouse, Shreveport, Louisiana, 8200 Pines Road, apartment 2902, 71129. I kind of want to speak on the same thing that Mr. Daniel spoke on about the proposal for the 13%. And as said, I'm not opposing to anything with Shreveport and 5. But the thing is, a small word that means a lot to me is all. All of us need 13%. All of us. If not, I think there needs, like someone said up above here, there needs to be a safe haven between that 2.75 and that 13% where all of us can benefit from it. If it's an 8% or 9.25 or something or like the 2.75, but 2.75, honestly, that's like a slap in the face when you haven't had a legitimate raise in a decade, a 3%, a bonus, but none of it is occurring at the same time. We've been doing our jobs for years. And the only thing we get from Mr. Daniels or our supervisor is a fist pound or a handshake. We're never compensated. Never. We're losing people at the water and sewer department just like a semi-monthly check. Every time someone gets paid here, somebody walks away from our department. Just like he said, it's not publicized, but it's happening. We have a very small department. We're trying to hold it low, but it's hard. We work anywhere from 40 to 80 hours a week to take care of families here. We do. I don't know about police and fire, I can't speak for them, but as Councilman said, they can make $60, $70 an hour to security outside of their own income. And I just want to speak on it, and that's really all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Kendrick Chisholm.
Afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So, as my coworker stated, it's kind of critical how often we lose people. Case in point, my division usually for the last few years has had about 20 vacancies. For the past year since the pandemic, about 40. We're losing people literally every week. I get resignation letters more than I get, anything else, literally. If you want some other numbers, our entry-level position, typically we get 150 applicants over the last few years. We had a list the other day with seven people. So, I get it. Nothing against police and fire. They deserve it, but other folks deserve it too. We're the folks that when your pipes go creak in the middle of the night and y'all running out the building, we run in the building. I'm just being serious. We get covered in feces and everything else under the sun. And the folks that you see back here that do this, they do it because they love it. This is their lifestyle. Every day, all day. We pick up the phone, answer the call every single time. Now, whatever we're gonna figure out as a city, we gotta do it together. I get it. We have to find a solution. So I get police and fire doing their thing, great. But as a community, we gotta do something for all of us, for the city of Shreveport. I'm a bit disappointed that the bond proposals didn't all pass. However, you're asking people to invest in, infrastructure, right? These are the men and women that take care of the infrastructure. You wouldn't buy a brand new luxury vehicle and take it to a shade tree mechanic, right? So you're asking folks to do, grade A mechanic work at a Shade Tree Mechanics price. But, I mean, forgive me if I seem a bit passionate about it, but I bleed and sweat with these folks every day. Every day. Rain, sleet, shine, snow, hurricane, pandemic, we don't care. You call, we're there. All right? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Luther Waits.
First, I'd like to say how everybody doing today.
Hi.
Okay. I'm Luther Waits. I'm a water and sewer employee, been one for 12 years. And I'm gonna ask the same question Mr. Bowman asked. What about us? I've been here 12 years. Only way I got any money, I had to get promotions. And I don't care about all of this other stuff y'all talking about. I got a family to feed, and that's why I'm here. I need my money just as well as everybody else do. What are y'all gonna do for us instead of just making us empty promises? I've been hearing every year, we gonna get y'all some money. We gonna get y'all some money. I ain't seen nothing. What I see is a little bitty raise, then the insurance go up. And it is what it is with me. I'm not no politic. I'm just gonna tell you how it is. Stop blowing the smoke, cause I ain't buying it. And I can leave here just like anybody else. Go make more money anywhere else. Y'all not gonna give me no more money? I'm gonna have to leave and go somewhere else. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir.
Jeffrey Smith.
Jeffrey Smith, 2139 Greenwood Road, Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm just gonna speak upon, like Chief Whitehorn said, police they state certified, which we are certified too, through health. We have to take tests for water licenses, and sewer license. But police get state checks every month, $500. We get nothing. Police get percentage every year, we get nothing. We have to get raises just to get money. Another thing is, as an MS3, I can work for Wilker or anybody as only an operator and get $20 an hour. Or I can drive a truck for CDLs for $20 an hour. Guess what? I do both, and I'm a supervisor of a crew for $17. So what type of respect is that? You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm talking about. Take care of us, and we all be good. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Rodriguez Hayes.
Hello.
Hello.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Perkins, Whitehorn, Mr. Brown, now the councilman. Once again, we're here again. You're gonna probably see us again tomorrow. It's gonna have to be a repetitious pattern with us. Seems like we keep getting left out. Ms. Fuller, I'd like you to speak and give us some answer too, because I see you, Busher, and Nicholson was on this 13% proposal. And I don't understand, how can you take $7 million out of the reserve and want to give it to the police and fire? Just only them. I thank the police. I thank everything that y'all do for us, the firemen too. I appreciate all y'all. Some of y'all got personal problems against the mayor, right around in the city every day. Some of y'all represent areas that got vote no. Vote no. How can you want the city to do better, but you got your people in your area with signs in their yards saying vote no? Y'all can't make it personal against Mayor Perkins. This is a team effort. The city council is part of the team. With the water department, we begin at Amos Plant. Some of y'all probably know where you get your water. Everybody think it just come out of Cross Lake. When Cross Lake get low, can anybody tell me where you get the water from? Nobody. Ms. Kiana makes sure that water is taken care of at the Amos Plant. Once it hit the pipeline, then it becomes a field worker. That goes to us to make sure the repairs. You got your meter readers, you got your customer service, you got a dispatch that run 24 hours a day. And they take on the calls for the trash department and streets and drainage at night. So, I mean, I understand, Pastor Green, I grew up in your neighborhood, hit the trail behind your house every night coming from Fraser Circle. You got a fence up now, can't come through there now.
That's my neighbor's fence.
Well, that's the neighbor fence, okay. Well, that's your neighbor's fence.
That's not my fence.
But on a serious note, I appreciate y'all wanting to do something for the fire and police. And we know they need it, but we need it as well. 2.75% is what y'all proposing to give us versus 13%. And I don't think y'all understand that 2.75, some people not gonna even get 15 cents or 10 cents. 2.75 for people that know numbers, that's not a lot of money. But if you're gonna take $7 million out of reserve, go ahead and fix the streets. Propose that. Since you're gonna have signs in your neighborhood saying don't vote, and it's personal against the mayor. It's what some of y'all councilmen are. The problem is against him. It's against him. And y'all affecting the whole city. Just because there's no crime down Ellaby Road, South Ferris area, it's people migrating. They migrating. So, I would appreciate if y'all go back and look at it once again. I appreciate the police and the fire and what they do. And it's not an easy job for them either, but it's not an easy job for us either. I got an email in my hand now from Ms. Fuller that she's been heavy lately, hitting us up with emails about leaks and getting stuff fixed. But not one time has she spoke today and said anything about does she bag us up, support anything. So I wish y'all, y'all pick the mayor to be the leader. Man, if he falling off, man, pick him up, spare him the right way. Don't punish him. And have your neighborhoods out there with signs saying don't vote. And don't say you ain't part of it. You're part of it because you they district people. You the one calling us to get leaks fixed. So our retirement is hurting. Mr. Brown can tell you that. Chief Whitehorn can tell you. Nicholson be in there. He can tell you the retirement is hurting. You don't have no employees to pay into the retirement. You study losing them. So at some point, y'all got to meet us halfway somewhere. And I don't feel like we got to keep coming back and voicing our opinions, and now we the bad guys. We the black sheep of the family. It's time out for that. It's gonna be a new year. It's gonna be election time, of course, I know. So, y'all gotta do what y'all gotta do, but at the end of the day, Ms. Fuller, I want you to speak on something because, you part of wanna be the proposer of the 13%, but it would be better if y'all even had us in the statement. We're not even in the statement nowhere. It's police and fire. We want them to get money, but we want it as well. So Ms. Fuller, can you give us some insight on something?
If
You're right.
Because you be out on the job sites with the little people in Highland, falling behind them like a paparazzi. I'll be out on site. Yeah, they do that with you.
Mr. No, stop. You're right. We should be looking at comprehensive raises for everyone. And if we're going to be taking money away from the reserve, we should be looking at fixing our infrastructure, doing what we can for all of our employees. We've had issues with the retirement, with healthcare. You know that the raise that you got would not have covered any of the healthcare that was proposed. So it's not even a cost of living. I'm not going to dispute anything you're saying. But the way that I have been considering this with police and fire is that people keep saying that they're leaving here because they don't feel safe. That could be a dog whistle. It could be the truth. But the way I see it is if we're hemorrhaging officers and we're hemorrhaging firefighters and medics, can we start there as a first domino? Can we start to get that piece of the puzzle elevated to a point where we can at least retain people so that we can actually retain our population? That's pretty much it. Because if we can start to retain population, then we still have a tax base that we can actually look at recurring funds to cover the raises for everybody else.
So you don't feel like water and sewer is important? You don't feel like...
The first thing I said to you is that I agree with you. I absolutely do believe that you're important.
You can't agree with me because if you agree with me, you started focusing on police and fire. Like I told you, we're not against what you're proposing for them, is that you're not being equal with everyone. I understand they need that. We need it as well.
I don't disagree
But
with you.
You're saying they can't, if they go out there and get bloody, what they gotta use? Water, right? They have to use water to clean up.
I agree with you.
When they're out there dealing with blood on crime scenes and having to deal with patients that's been shot on a regular here in Shreveport lately,
Mr. Hayes.
they have to get water. I know my 3 minutes up. Thank you, Ms.
You're not wrong, Mr. Hayes.
No.
You're still right here. I'm still right here. We're back to what Mr. Bowman was saying. So what are we gonna do? If my theory on how we can start to fix this doesn't work for you and it's not satisfactory, we all have a vote. We can vote this up or down, or we can table it and try to come back with something else.
Okay, cool.
But no, there's no reason to think that I ever intended to state that water and sewer, public works are not as important. This is a first domino so we can start to retain the officers, the fire department, and retain our population that we keep losing as well.
So if you lose your water, experienced workers.
And the thing is, the other part of that with infrastructure, part of the reason that we're broke and always having to look at these bonds is because we keep spreading our population thinner and thinner over more land area with annexations that don't actually cover the cost.
But then
Part of the reason that we're broke, and that's a huge thing for me. I've been very consistent about that.
Well, it's not our fault that the city's expanding. I mean, if they're expanding down LB Road area towards, which that's mostly where it's migrating to, I mean, that's not our fault.
I agree.
So why? So I'm lost from what your answer is. Like you telling me, like you still haven't gave me a reason.
I think I've been very clear. I'm sorry that it's not enough clarity for you, but that was my theory on the reason I could support this.
So the domino effect for you is only police and fire.
No, the domino effect starts there, but it has to continue. But the thing is, we have to be able to maintain our population. The thing is, it's not just on public safety. Yes, infrastructure is a huge part of health, safety, and welfare. I'm just saying right now that this was a place for me where we could start. You asked me directly for an answer. That's my answer. It's just not good enough for you. Okay.
Never will.
Madam Chair, I want to make the brief remark that input from city employees is important. Every member of the public has a right to appear before this council and give his opinion about any matter of city business, but I expect mutual respect from the council to employees and from employees to the council. Even if you don't like us individually, you owe the offices we hold respect. So I really respectfully request that there be no even oblique personal insults against any member of this council. It's not productive, it doesn't advance your interests, and it's not good for the city. So please refrain from doing that.
Councilman Nicholson. Councilwoman Fuller, did you feel insulted?
No. I feel like he spoke his piece, and it's well within his rights to speak his piece.
And where I can respect that on any level, I've sat here at this council and been called out my name and ain't nobody said a word.
Same.
I don't think for any given point that when these employees are feeling as passionate as they're feeling, and it comes, we have fire and police, they come and they say what they need to say, and I don't find it to be disrespectful. I find it to be disrespectful when you call us out of our names, when you make fun of us, or you address us in any way. If I felt at any given point in time that Councilwoman Fuller, when she stopped and said, let me address this, that she could handle that, then she got me for backup up here. But she didn't feel that way. And if she was insulted, she would have said so, Madam Chair, and we would cut that off, and I would have somebody escorted out this chamber.
Yeah, I've been called out my name. I've been accused of all kinds of things that were absolutely defamatory. That was not that.
Mr. Green.
Will you state that to him again that that's not my fence?
Mr. Hayes, that's not Mr. Green's fence. Okay. Next one, Councilman Bowman.
Well, you didn't ask Mr. Nicholson, did you feel any type of way about Mr.
Referring to a member of the council as paparazzi is insulting, even if the member was not insulting.
Referring to the member as someone who would make death threats against their colleagues is way more defamatory.
Yeah,
but y'all seem to be silent on that.
Yeah.
Let it go. Be like Elsa.
Michael Williams.
Madam Chairman, Mayor, to all the other councilmen around the shoe here, I rise to the podium, 2101 Carver Place, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71103. First, I'd like to commend the men and women who serve our great city. Give them a round of applause for standing up for what they believe in. And Councilman, when people have emotion, they are unedited. You're dealing with real emotion when you talk about the quality of life issue that affects them. Former Shreveport firefighter, disabled firefighter, retired 10 years. I know you have two great leaders running the fire and police, and I think the three biggest budgets is Public Works, Fire and Police, and the Police Department, three largest budgets. Now I want to talk about something. Janet Jackson wrote a song, said, "What have you done for me lately?" And unfortunately, when we deal with systematic inequality, when we deal with equity and fair and justice, and make sure that resources and the wealth and economic is distributed to all citizens, so they have the opportunity to be able to be treated fairly. And they feel like economic equity has not been distributed fairly, and oftentimes you get mixed signals from the people that make these type of decisions. I know that the economic policies, not only here but in America, have not always been fair. Inflation affects us all. They pay for more water, they pay for more gas, they pay for more milk, they pay for everything. So it should be a way that we can have some common ground to find some solutions in the budget to be able to ensure that all of the city employees be able to benefit from the windfall of the city of Shreveport. And unfortunately, they feel like they don't get the headlines like the fire and police. I support fire and police 100%. But I support all the citizens, all the men and women who wear the blue in the city of Shreveport. And unfortunate, how do you measure results? You measure results based on the fact that everybody feel part of the team. It should be inclusive. Everybody are the most valuable players here. We're supposed to work together to find some ways to make them people feel like they could be made whole. So I pray that you would search the budget and do a great job in ensuring that you operate in conservatism and be moderate when you make those decisions regarding raises. If you can't be 2.75, well, try to at least come halfway, do something, because we haven't done enough for I'm concerned. But hopefully that these systematic inequality will change in economic and we promote equity for everyone. So I can commend you what you're doing. I understand your position. I've been there before. And I pray that you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Thank you.
Alvin Oliver.
Citizen Watchdog, 2319 Fernbrook Drive in Shreveport. First, let me say to the voters listening out here in wherever, particularly the poor white and poor black voters, please go register and vote. Don't just register and then go and vote. Get yourselves equipped so you know what's in the bond, you know what's in the budget, and you know what these things are. Some of them I've heard them say, "Oh, this bond is going to raise my taxes." Well, let me tell you, if you don't own property, you're not paying taxes. If you don't own property, you're not paying taxes. Parish, city, property, any of that. The only thing that you're paying taxes on is a sale tax when you go and buy something. Now, I said all of that to say, absolutely, the police department needs their money. My opinion is they should start off at $50,000 a year or more, because they get out here and put on their uniform to protect us every day. And so I think also without public safety, we have a dying city. but without water and sewage and pipe and infrastructure, we also have a dying city. Remember Flint, Michigan? Remember the pipes in Flint, Michigan? Remember these people drinking lead-based water? Some of them even died. Do y'all remember that? And so, yeah, I agree with these water and sewage guys. They need their money as well, because they're out there when the police are not. They're out there when the police are. And so I agree with these folks also. Now let's get back, let me piggyback off what my man said about the mayor. Listen, the mayor is the leader of this city. I don't always agree with everything that he does, but I agree with a lot that he does do. And we know that most of you have been against this bond, not because of the bond, but because of him. That's what most of you been doing, and let's be real, let's keep it real. That's the name of the show, ain't it? Keep it real. Okay, so a lot of you live in glass houses. A lot of you live in a bubble, and so here's the thing. You need to come out of your glass houses and come out of that bubble, because you live in a place where there's affluence. Where is the bond most needed? In the black communities, where a lot of you with affluence don't live. Where are the streets the worst? In the black community. Where's the crime the worst? In the black community. So I submit to you that you of affluence, whether you're white, black, or whatever, come out of your glass houses, come out of your bubbles, because you got to come into the hoods where the streets are broken, where the pipes are broken, where the crime is broken, and where it all needs fixing. Stop looking at that, man, and let's pass these bonds, okay? Also, let me say this before I leave here in this 16 seconds. Each of you city councils have a slum apartment in your district. The Citizens Watchdogs and the radio group, we're going to begin to call you out if you don't address the problems in the black communities in these slum areas. We're going to call out property managers, we're going to call out property owners, and we're going to call out city councilmen in each district. John Nicholson, your district has slum apartments. Lavette Fuller, yours does. Grayson Butcher, who's disappeared, yours does. Jerry, yours does. Everybody's does. So don't just show up to these areas when it's election time. Let's show up when the people cry out for you, because the people need you in these areas. As you all know, we over there in that slum-ridden Woodlawn Terrace, and we're trying to get the people the help that they need, okay? And Lavette, nothing against you, but the people need your help. I'm not attacking you or anyone else. The people need your help, okay? And Mayor Perkins, we need your help. City leaders, whatever department you're in, I don't care what department you're in, the people need help. Let's stop looking down on these people, looking down on them, and let's look down on them and help them up.
Carla Collins? In the back. Marvin Muhammad.
First, the good news, Marvin Muhammad, 1, 2, 3, not really caring right now. The first thing that I want to speak about, well, first the good news. I want to commend the Metropolitan Planning Commission for two initiatives that they're working on. First, I want to commend them for passing the 6-month liquor store moratorium. I think that's great. And I also want to commend them for their work against the slumlords. I think that initiative is very near correct. The only thing that I would hope to see with that is that we begin to try some kind of way to limit the amount of rental homes in the black community. I don't know how that can come to be, but that's something that I believe needs to happen. I got a few things that I want to cover. Smile Little. The most critical thing to me is the value of the female. And of the female, the most valuable of the female is the black woman. And I say that because she is the mother of civilization. You can go Google that and argue with somebody else some other time. But a 17-year-old black female was kidnapped, raped, tortured, set afire, shot, and dumped. And our Shreveport Police Department has yet to arrest the savages that are worthy of death. Chief Wayne Smith, a man who I believe is a good man, a man who I believe wants the best for this city and for the department. But we need answers. I assure you, if that little girl last name was Muhammad, all of my brothers would have found him. Y'all would have found him hanging up upside down at the courthouse, and they wouldn't have a pulse, and we wouldn't care what you thought. That little girl family needs justice. The Shreveport Police Department, those who had the cadaver dogs, they need to apologize to us. They need to explain to us why they didn't run those dogs from the place that she was abducted all the way through through Motown to where she was found, within a mile. They owe us an apology. We need a report from the Shreveport Police Department of how they bundled that investigation on that day and the days therefore after. On the bond, the brothers are right. The bond failed because of Mayor Perkins. Chief Whitehorn, that $5 million in lighting, because the rest of it for public safety, we want that $5 million in the black community for lighting. So we're going to be advocating for that, because you cannot have economic development. All these city workers, you need to explain to them that 10 years ago that the city budget used to be $1 billion. That's the combined operational and capital budget. Today it's half of that. Someone needs to tell the city workers that the administration just covered the help and the retirement program. They wrote a check so y'all wouldn't be burdened with that. Those dollars have to come from somewhere. Until we build the economy, there isn't any money for the city workers. We cannot ask to postpone City Councilwoman Economic Development TIF district that she wants to do on North Market and expect to give the city workers a raise. The math just doesn't add up.
Mr. Muhammad,
yes.
Do you want to speak with Chief Smith?
Yes, if he'd like to come up. I mean, we talk all the time, but the NAACP been criticized for not speaking up on these issues.
But
so we want to come out and speak on these, because we need answers. But I don't want to speak to him on the side. Yeah. I would ask Councilwoman Taylor if he'll come up and I know some things that he can't say because of investigation.
He can't say that. Let you all two go speak right there, and what he can provide for us, that he will. But let him go, because if it's an ongoing investigation, then he cannot speak and say a number of things in reference to it, only what they can. So I'm asking you to, if he's over there, if Chief Smith is here, then go speak to him right there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Kessler.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. And since we don't like being personal, today it's $190 million worth of bonds for our sewage program. And we just heard a presentation about 2 months ago, Councilman Nicholson, where they are responsible for losing the city of Shreveport tens of millions of dollars. My question is, why are you not introducing a performance and payment bond for them like you did on C. Edward Concepts? Since you're concerned about the city dollars, you figure it out.
We have no executive appointments to be considered tomorrow.
No.
There are no items under consent or introduction to be adopted. Mr. Whitehorn, please proceed with regular legislation.
I did want to say I appreciate.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, Mayor Perkins.
Can I make some comments before
Yes.
we get to the agenda? I don't typically come to our administrative sessions. I show up for city council meetings, but I knew that a lot of our water and sewer employees are going to be down here, so made an exception to come down because I wanted to hear what you all had to say. I wanted to see you.
Hold on, Mayor Perkins.
Sorry?
Gotta ask y'all to reduce your noise. Okay.
I'm speaking directly into the microphone. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
You can speak up a little, Mayor.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, got it. All right, so I'll just go recap. So I don't typically come to administrative sessions. I came down today because I knew our water and sewer employees were going to be here. I wanted to hear what you had to say. I wanted to see you. I don't just see you all at city council meetings. Y'all know I've been down there plenty of times to where you all, to the motor pool. I've been to plenty of sites with you. During a winter storm, I was out there freezing with you. And I know the sacrifices that y'all make. Y'all are near and dear to me, just like all city employees, because I know the role that you play in this city. We've talked about it a little bit today. Examples have been provided on, if a police officer has to get blood off of them, or if our firefighters have to put a fire out at a house, they need you. We've heard your leadership. We've heard leadership from the police and fire department talk about how critical you all are. You all are critical. Public Works is critical. And I see it each and every day. Unfortunately, sometimes you have leaders in this city and you even have citizens that only pay attention when they need you. And I know y'all remember what things were like in February and how everybody needed you and wanted you to work 24 hours a day and talked about how important you were and thanked you. And then you fast forward a couple months later and you see stuff like what we're dealing with right now. I wasn't here when Chief Whitehorn spoke, but I'm sure he passed on the sentiments of our administration. Whenever there is talk about a pay raise or compensation, I promise you we think about each and every one of you. But I am limited as the mayor. Some people think I'm all powerful and everything that happens in this city is on me. We are limited because we do not control the purse. The city council members do. Where our dollars is allocated, I do not get to press a button to say yay or nay. Our city council, they allocate dollars, they allocate pay raises, and whatever their theories are, whatever their plans are, we have to go along with it. And we work alongside them. I'm not saying we're powerless at all. But ultimately, we don't get to make that decision. But I just wanted to come here today to let you all know that, I know it has not been much, but since we came in office, and we came in office with negative $1.3 million in our reserve, we could not do much at all. But since we've had a healthier bank account, we've given bonuses, we've given pay raises, we recommend compensating you all each and every opportunity that we get because we know the city does not run without you. So I wanted you all to hear that directly from me and know where I stand, know where my heart is on this topic, and know how we're going to push behind the scenes for everybody to be compensated. So I just want to thank y'all for coming out here today. I want to thank you for what you do each and every day. Anybody else in Public Works is watching today, or any other department outside of police and fire, I want you to know that you are appreciated by this administration. Of course, my police and fire officers and frontline employees know that we appreciate them and all that they do as well. We talk about them often. And I just want the community to be conscious of the messages that we send to city employees. We can't pit them up against each other. We got to make sure we remain consistent in appreciating their work all year round, not just when we need them. So I want us to just think about that as a community and understand right now is not the time to point fingers at one another. A lot of these problems that we're dealing with started decades ago. So, when I hear it's the mayor's fault or something like that on problems that started in the 80s, and I'm in my 30s, I can only laugh at it. But we're gonna be motivated by the situation, the circumstances that we're in. I have a very capable staff. Again, I know our heart is in the right place, and we're doing all that we can for the city of Shreveport, and we're gonna do all we can for the city of Shreveport's employees. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Chief.
Resolution number 132, authorizing the mayor to execute an option to ground lease between the city of Shreveport and Shreveport HB Allendale LLC Resolution 135 to amend Resolution number 80 of 2021, which was adopted to execute a contract between the City of Shreveport, Louisiana, and C. Edwards Concept, LLC, to provide curbside recycling within the limits of Shreveport. Resolution 139, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Shreveport and Carr, Riggs, and Ingram, LLC, for the purpose of an external audit of the city for fiscal year January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Resolution 140, authorizing the mayor to execute an acceptance of act of donation and permanent utility servitude agreement between the City of Shreveport and Linwood Development, LLC, hereinafter called owner, and acting herein through Sammy A. Majalis, member manager for the water mains and related facilities to serve Aegean Majalis subdivision, unit number 2. Resolution 147, providing the 2022 Downtown Development Authority Program of Work. Resolution 148, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Prime Government Solutions, Inc. for agenda management software. Resolution 149, amending the pay plan for classified employees based on administrative $13 minimum wage increase and current market trends. Resolution 150, approving custom retail store fixtures, LLC, for participation in the Industrial Tax Exemption Program, ITP, located at 9401 Slack Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. Resolution 151, authorizing the City of Shreveport, the city, to hire professionals in conjunction with the potential refunding of any eligible water sewer revenue bonds of water sewer revenue refunding bonds of the city for the purpose of attaining savings for the city and for its taxpayers through the issuance of taxable or tax-exempt water sewer revenue refunding bonds in the amount not to exceed $190 million in one or more series. Resolution 152, authorizing the City of Shreveport, State of Louisiana, to proceed with issuance of its not exceeding $190 million taxable or tax-exempt water sewer refunding bonds in one or more series for the purpose of refunding certain existing indebtedness of the city, making application to the Louisiana State Bond Commission for approval of such bonds. Resolution 153, to authorize the mayor to dedicate 4400 block of Long Street in honor of Freddie C. Burns, Sr. Resolution 154, to dedicate the 300 block of East 80th Street in honor of Dr. Stephen Bradley, Jr. for his commitment and contributions to the Cedar Grove community and the City of Shreveport.
Any discussion? Ms. Whitehorn, would you proceed with introduction of resolutions? Not to be adopted prior to December 28, 2021.
Resolution 155, authorizing an amendment to the contract between the City of Shreveport and the African American Celebration Corporation. Resolution 156, authorizing an amendment to the contract between the City of Shreveport and the crew of Centaur relative to Mardi Gras parades. Resolution 157, authorizing an amendment to the contract between the City of Shreveport and the crew of Gemini relative to Mardi Gras parades. Resolution 158, authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the crew of Harambe. Resolution 159, authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the crew of Highland. Resolution 160, authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement with the crew of Sobe. Resolution 161, authorizing the City of Shreveport, Louisiana, purchasing agent to reject all bids received for purchase of a 1-ton regular cab 4x2 with auto crane and flashing lights. IFB bid number 21-062. Resolution 162, stating the City of Shreveport's endorsement of the new Shreveport Renewal LLC, United Jewelers, to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement Program and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Resolution 163, stating the City of Shreveport's endorsement of the new Shreveport Renewal LLC, Lee Hardware, to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement Program. Resolution 164, stating the City of Shreveport's endorsement of the new Shreveport Renewal LLC, United Jewelers Townhome, to participate in the benefit of the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement Program. Resolution 165, approving the Restoration Tax Abatement Renewal Application of Venue Solutions LLC, 601 Milam Street. That's the last one.
Any discussion? Mr. Whitehorn, would you proceed with the introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to December 28, 2021?
Ordinance number 208, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2021 Capital Projects Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein. Ordinance number 209, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2021 General Fund budget. Ordinance 210, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2021 Capital Projects Fund budget. Ordinance number 211, amending the 2021 Water and Sewage Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 212, amending the 2021 Airport Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 213, amending the 2021 Solid Waste Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 214, amending Section 66-141 of Chapter 66, Personnel, Article 3, Health Benefits for the City of Shreveport Code of Ordinance relative to healthcare plan tiers and costs of active employee and retirees.
Any discussion? Mr. Whitehorn, would you proceed with ordinances on second reading and final passage?
Ordinance 149, amended Section 10-69 of Chapter 10, Article 4, Division 2 of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances with respect to fee and terms for alcoholic beverage handling employee cards. Ordinance 183 to amend Section 66-141 of Chapter 66 Personnel, Article 3, Health Benefits for the City of Shreveport Code of Ordinances relative to contributions of active employees. Ordinance 184, amending the 2021 Retained Risk Fund budget. Ordinance 185, amending the 2021 General Fund budget. Ordinance 186, amending the 2021 General Fund budget. Ordinance 187, amending the 2021 General Fund budget. Ordinance 188, amending the 2021 Capital Projects Fund budget. Ordinance 169, amending the 2021 Capital Projects Fund budget. Ordinance 190, amending the 2021 Water and Sewage Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 191, declaring the city's interest in certain land as surplus and our intention to donate certain land acquired by the Department of Community Development to Volunteers of America of North Louisiana. Ordinance 192, to amend Chapter 38 of the Code of Ordinances relative to rental dwelling unit registration program. Ordinance 193, to amend various articles and sections in the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Unified Development Code relative to rental dwelling units, their registration, maintenance, and inspection. Ordinance 194, to amend the Metropolitan Planning Commission fees schedule for City of Shreveport, Louisiana, Unified Development Code relative to fees of rental dwelling units, registration program, as well as garage sales. Ordinance 195 to amend Chapter 58, Article 4, Division 1, and Chapter 78, Article 7, Division 1 of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances relative to litter and dumping. Ordinance 196 to amend the 2021 Grant Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 197 adopting the 2022 Downtown Development Authority budget. Ordinance 198 amending the 2021 Capital Improvement budget. Ordinance 199 amending the 2021 Downtown Economic Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 200 amending the 2021 Capital Improvement budget. Ordinance 201 amending the 2021 budget funding critical services provided to Sportran by Metro Management Associates. Ordinance 202 amending the 2021 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 203 amending the 2021 General Fund budget. Ordinance 124, zoning case number 21-76-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the southwest corner of Malham Street and Arkansas Avenue, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from C-1 Neighborhood Commercial District to C-3 General Commercial District. Ordinance 204, zoning case number 21-158-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the southwest corner of LaGuardia Street and Hawkins Street, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R-1-5 Single Family Residential District to R-A Rural Agricultural District. Ordinance number 205, zoning case number 21-164-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the southwest corner of Fairfield Avenue and Dashiell Street, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from C-UC Urban Corridor District to IC Institutional Campus District. Ordinance number 206, zoning case number 21-166-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the northwest corner of Baird Road and Ferrara Drive, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from C-2 Corridor Commercial District to R-3 Multifamily Residential District. Ordinance number 207, zoning case number 21-167-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located on the north side of E Boulevard Street, approximately 104 feet east of Alexander Avenue, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R-1-5 Single Family Residential District to R-2 Multifamily Residential District.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Councilman Nicholson.
Madam Chair, ordinance 149, if adopted, will increase ABO fees. I'm opposed to that legislation. Other members may support it, but the chief of police has asked me to convey to the council that the police department needs a decision on that.
Okay.
And so whether it passes or fails, we need to have an up or down vote tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is it up or down, or is it table, or is it up or down?
Well, if it's tabled, the effect will be that the legislation is not adopted, which is what I'd like to see happen. So if you,
I plan on asking for tabling.
Okay, well, that'll take care of it then, Councilman Green. Thank you.
193 and 194. Well, part of 194. I'm going to remand that back to the MPC where we will be able to schedule meetings with appropriate parties to hear the concerns regarding the rental registry. And so, once remanded, we'll schedule meetings within the next 45 days to hear the concerns from all appropriate parties. And then we can come back together, Councilman Nicholson, you think at that point, and reach a happy medium. But please understand, there has to be a minimal livability standard in the city of Shreveport that will give our employees the teeth that they need to go after these property owners who are not doing their part. So I do believe that we can sit down and have a very good discussion on that. We can hear the concerns from all sides and reach that happy medium. So I will remand this piece of legislation back, and I think probably 195 may need to be postponed. Councilman Green.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Bowman.
I might want to table 124. I hadn't spoke back to the owner there, and so I'll get with Mr. Clark and.
This is the liquor store.
Right, but I don't know if it's still another reason to change the zoning or whatever. So,
Mr. Clark, do you know how the moratorium will affect this?
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon, sir.
This was a recommendation for denial. It is our understanding that unless the council is inclined to overturn that recommendation for denial, this should die.
Remand it back to the NBC.
yeah,
Okay.
I guess we could just we'll do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chief Whitehorn, 2022 budget ordinance to be adopted no later than December 15, 2021.
Ordinance number 152, adopting the 2022 capital fund budget. And there are 5 amendments. Do you want me to go through each amendment, or we're gonna do that tomorrow?
My suggestion is tomorrow.
Okay. Ordinance number 153.
I got time today, though. If you got time, it's bad.
I got one with 12. We can.
So it's time to work over our bowels.
Betty White needs a Snickers.
Okay.
Ordinance number 153, adopting the 2022 Riverfront Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance number 154, adopting the 2022 General Fund budget. Ordinance 155, adopting the 2022 Retained Risk Fund budget. Ordinance 156, adopting the 2022 Metropolitan Planning Commission Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 157, adopting the 2022 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 158, adopting the 2022 Grant Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 159, adopting the 2022 Shreveport Redevelopment Agency Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 160, adopting the 2022 Downtown Entertainment Economic Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 161, adopting the 2022 Golf Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 162, adopting the 2022 Airports Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 163, adopting the 2022 Water Sewage Fund budget. Ordinance 164, adopting the 2022 Budget Fund Contractual Services provided to Sportran by Metro Management Associates. Ordinance 165, adopting the 2022 Downtown Parking Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 166, adopting the 2022 Convention Center Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 167, adopting the 2022 Convention Center Hotel Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 168, adopting the 2022 Debt Service Fund budget. Ordinance 169, adopting the 2022 Solid Waste Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 170, adopting the 2022 Street Special Revenue Fund budget. And Ordinance 171, adopting the 2022 Diversion Program Special Revenue Fund budget.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, is there any table legislation to be removed from the table today?
There will
sorry.
be, which number is it?
Ordinance 72.
Ordinance 72, I would like to remove that from the table and have it put on the agenda for the 28th, and I'd like to have an infrastructure meeting to discuss it prior, because I can't call an A&E committee meeting, but the A&E committee meeting members could come and address any issues they have or support then, and that way we can get it done.
Okay. Anything else?
That's the only one.
Okay. We have no property standards or ABO appeals to consider today. ABO appeal, Ms. Amanda Smith, we're still gonna do that until March 21st, 2022. We have an MPC case number 21101-C appeal to consider tomorrow. Was that yours? Councilman Bowman?
Hold up, I'm trying to see. Yep.
Okay, that's the one you're gonna remand back to the MPC?
Yep.
Okay. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
There are none.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, and committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk's report?
I have none.
Okay. We have a request from the city attorney to go into executive session on tomorrow. If there is nothing else,
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry, Councilman Green.
I was wondering if y'all wasn't busy, if y'all could stay extra 45 minutes for some information I'd like to discuss with y'all. If not, we'll do it tomorrow.
You want us to stay today?
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Didn't you have Friends and Family Day yesterday?
Councilman Nichols, will you stay with us today for 45 more minutes?
Let's do it another day, Councilman.
This meeting is adjourned.
So this is